Okay, so I am very pleased to introduce the wonderful Sarah Silva. With 18 years of experience in grassroots community organizing, Sarah Silva brings experience in leadership development, strategic capacity, power building, coaching, and trauma-informed management. With experience as a founding executive director of a nonprofit and as principal owner of Emergent Coaching and Facilitation, Sarah knows how to launch projects as well as help teams change with intention. Sarah values the development of local people to influence equity and justice for themselves and their community. Sarah grew up in the rural community of Vado, New Mexico. Her grandparents came here as farm workers in the 1950s under the Bracero program. And she remembers her grandfather growing onions, corn, and green chili on a small plot of land and helping with the harvest as a child. Sarah attended the University of San Francisco and holds degrees in theology and Latin American history. During the summer months, Sarah would come back from the Bay Area and spend many Saturday mornings at the Las Cruces farmers market, helping her grandfather at his vegetable booth and gossiping with the other viejos. She currently lives in Las Cruces, New Mexico, with her partner and 2 children, and leaves the gardening to her better half. So it's great to have you, Sarah, again, and I can't wait to integrate some of these learnings together, everyone. So I'll just pass it along to you, Sarah.
Thanks, Sophia. Hi, everyone. It's good to see you all again. I would love for you to take a deep breath. This is the last hour and 20 minutes of the conference of the whole week. So if your body feels like it needs to stretch, if you need to put your arms up in the air, if it needs a neck stretch, go ahead and do that. If you need to stand up. Sometimes when we've been online and staring at a screen, sometimes our foreheads need a little tapping as if raindrops were hitting our forehead. Can do that also. Feel free to do whatever you need so that we are here for the last little bit of our agenda. I am going to walk us through how we're internalizing and taking all that we've learned over the last 4 days and figuring out what are my most elegant next steps after this conference. What's the thing or the people or the ideas that I need to put in order? And so we're going to do some of that because conferences often will give you a ton of information and then say, okay, bye. And then you have to figure out how to integrate all that stuff that you learned into an already busy agenda the following week or throughout your weekday. The New Mexico Farmers Market Association actually built in time in their agenda for you to do some of that here. So you don't have to then put it off and then say, what was that conversation we had last week? What was that thing I said I was going to do? Let's take some time to do it now. So I'm going to share my screen and a couple of things. So first of all, actually, before I share my screen, I would love for you to put in the chat 1 or 2 words about how you're feeling on the last day of this conference. Just how are you doing? And you can put it in the chat just so I can do a quick check-in. Or if there are no words, but you want to use your emojis, you can use your emojis. Done with Zoom, yeah. Excited and fried, I know. I hear you. Loving this, so people are energized, motivated, full head, lots of stuff. Stiff and exhilarated, ready to start planting. Oh, I know, right? Ready to start planting, full of knowledge. ready to plant, tired but full of ideas, tired but motivated. You all are amazing. I love this. Less fearful of all the requirements for the market. That's wonderful. That is so important. So it's so good. So first of all, you all are a group that can hold multiple feelings at once. It's like I'm tired and exhilarated, tired and full of ideas, fried and excited, like all these things. There are very few groups that can hold feelings that can feel very opposing simultaneously. So I want to let you know, as like gardeners, growers, farmers, you kind of have to hold the, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to the crop and the excitement and the fear kind of at the same time, don't you? As and I kind of know, like growing up in a family of farmers, feeling the excitement and the optimism, but also the who knows what might happen. So you all are amazing at holding multiple feelings all at once. So I just want to name that as I'm hearing and seeing the feelings that are coming up on the chat box. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen and let's get going. So this part of our conference is called We Learn by Reflecting on Our Experiences. As someone who has facilitated lots of groups from children to young adults to adults and older adults, the thing that I see across just us as humans is that we learn by reflecting on what we've done. Often we just do a lot of things, but then we don't go back and make space for the reflection, which is really where the wisdom, the learning, the aha moments are found. And again, as farmers and growers, it feels as if you already know how to do this, because we always look at the last crop and say, why did the pecans not give us as much fruit this year as last year? What happened? You all are already reflecting on what are the conditions that created this outcome. And so we're going to do some of that here, but with our work and with the conference. And so just a little bit more of our pop. Our purpose is that you have space to reflect on your time during the conference and plan with intentionality what some next steps post-conference could be for you and your teams back home. Some outcomes that you leave with the beginnings of a few next steps. You get some feedback and other ideas from your colleagues, and then clarity on the type of support you may need to realize your next steps. So again, what are the conditions we might need? Can I just see by a show of emojis or thumbs up if you're on video? Does that sound like a good use of our time? Yeah, can I see some hearts or thumbs up? Beautiful, thank you. Thanks for the feedback. Excellent. Okay, so let's review, because we might have forgotten what we did on the very first day, because it might have felt like a forever ago. So day one, we had a historical and cultural perspectives on agriculture in New Mexico. So I want you, if you were in that session, I want you to think back. If you have notes that you took, go back to your notes and say, oh yeah, I remember I wrote this down. So we talked about that in the morning. That was the launch in the beginning. And then we talked about the State of the Plate 2022. And Denise gave us a quick scan of program and highlights. So there was probably some celebration in that part and some thinking, a little bit of reflection of the last year, which is excellent. And then there were board elections. There was like stuff to do, structures, right? Because structures channel power, and you all are a powerful group. So you took some time to think through that. And then I joined you in the afternoon on the first day to talk about navigating conflict and how race, class, gender, and other isms might come in and muck up the conflict or the misunderstandings even more. So we talked about that and how to make decisions together. We created our own versatile vegetable festival, if you remember, and recipe contest. So that was the first day. So think back and remember, how are you feeling? Any highlights that you want to just make sure that you remember, any conversations that happened. And then on the second day, so this was a mandatory day. This was like really the skill work and learning how to include some of these really important processes and systems into the work that you're doing. So systems like the Double Up Food Bucks and Fresh RX, and then there was a part 2. So that was the bulk of the day. So that might have been like a lot of learning and a lot of information that was really important. And again, it might have been like, whew, I'm full. That's a lot of information. Or it might have been really exciting and challenging for you in a good way. So think about day 2 and how you were feeling then. Any notes that you want to review and come back to. And then yesterday, day 3, there is a WIC annual training, and there were important changes to pay attention to, and maybe there were lots of questions or new things that you learned. We talked about the modern day alternative from the wonderful Chiliyazi on indigenous farming. Did that bring up anything for you? Anything resonate? Anything inspire you? And then our brains and our hearts probably did a little bit of a shift and a pivot to talk about the legislature and the updates there. And you might have had different questions from a different part of your brain, maybe. And then we closed out the day with urban and rural farmers market open forums. So there were breakout rooms and you got to actually spend some time in a unique specialty that you bring and your unique situation. I want you to think about day 3, conversations you had, ideas, questions, things that resonated. And now we're here on day 4, the last day of this year's conference. And there was some new market manager orientation. So again, structures that help channel your power and your ability to make things happen. And so I'm sure you got lots of information that's really important, and maybe a lot of next steps also from that morning session. Marketing tools and resources. So how do you use the best, how do you use those resources to the best of your ability and leverage those resources? So maybe there's a lot of imagination or things about how you might use that. And then we just had the NM Grow and Approved Supplier Program, which I listened in on a little bit, and there's a lot of questions and a lot of challenges. I didn't think eggs were as controversial as I do now. So thank you for that insight. But that might have also brought in some conversation and questions and ideas for you. A lot of good resources, and now we're here. So, that was a lot. So I want you to jot down, or just like in your mind's eye, just remember, oh, how did this feel overall? I'm reviewing your notes. I'm going to switch screens now. So this is my grandfather in Vado. His name is Ramon Jimenez, and he's the one that came as a bracero in the 50s. And I just wanted a reason to show him off. So this is him in Vado. And so the reflection exercise, and we're going to be going into groups of 3 to 5. And I'd love for you to, if it's available to you, to turn on your camera when you're on small groups so people can see your lovely faces. And given the review that we just had and your time together, I want you to finish these phrases. I like, I wish, I wonder. How many of you have done this reflection exercise before? I like, I wish, I wonder. Anyone? Yeah, a couple folks. Okay, so for those who don't know, I like, I wish, I wonder is a good kind of brief way to to reflect on an event or a program or just time that you've spent together with a group of people. And you can use this too with anything that any event that you host. So for example, I really like that we had the new market manager orientation because I was really freaking out about all these technical things, and now I have some answers. I wish that I could have spent some more time with people, and it really is sad that we weren't able to be in physical space with each other, because I would have loved to have small chats with people in between these sessions. So I wish we could have done that. And I wonder about next year, and I wonder if we'll be able to do something together at our next annual conference. Right, so finish those sentences for yourselves. I like, I wish, I wonder. So take a minute to think about that. I'm going to stop share, and then you will have, let's do, let me check the time really quick. Let's do 10 minutes in small groups. I like, I wish, I wonder. And Sophia, when you're ready. There you go. Join your groups. I like, I wish, I wonder. Let's see, rail yards. Are you able to join your group? Shiprock Farmers Market, are you able? Orion, are you able to join your group? Cindy, Sally, and Daryl, are you able to join your group? Berlin, Catherine, are you able to join your group? All right. Sophia, what's the average number of people in groups? You're on mute.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Looks like it's around 3 to 4 people in every
Okay.
room.
Excellent. And then do you want to pause the recording? Is that okay? Or does it matter?
I think, yeah, I will, just because